Gentlemen, my name is Louise O'Riordan and I am the Town Mayor of Dunstable. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the 2025 Dunstable Town Meeting. You're all very, very welcome. It's nice to see such a good turnout. The Town Council is required by law to call a meeting of all electors of the parish of Dunstable between the 1st of March and the 1st of June each year. And this is to give the opportunity for any elector of the parish of Dunstable the chance to ask questions. The meeting may discuss any town affairs and is not confined to the functions of the Town Council. Although we may not be able to answer questions in respect of other authorities, we answer or signpost wherever we can. This year is the 40th annual town meeting. So this year is a very big year. The Town Council is celebrating its 40th year in its current form. Woo! And this year, our theme, or my theme as Mayor, is unity within the community. We're going to begin the evening with a briefing from Dunstable Town Council about how the Town Council collaborates with voluntary organisations and the benefits they offer to the community. We've got several groups here tonight that offer those services. And then we'll hear from Dunstable Food Bank, Bedfordshire Rural Communities Charity, or BEDS RCC, Dunstable Citizens Advice, and Luton Community Foundation. And the Community Voluntary Service. Did I say that right?
No,
Dunstable Citizens Advice. Oh, I'm sorry, that little bit's missed. The Bedfordshire Luton Community Foundation, apologies, and the community, I didn't sound right, and the Community Voluntary Service about their organisations. We will then have an opportunity to ask questions of the presenters and also to raise any issues relating to the town. We're then going to finish with a briefing from Gatherwell, which is the community lottery provider, with a brief introduction to the Dunstable Community Lottery, which is going to be rolled out this year. And we're going to focus also on how the community groups can participate in that community lottery. This meeting is being filmed. So the Town Council will be broadcasting it live over YouTube, and you will be able to watch it again later on at any time. If you are seated here in this room, it is likely that the cameras will capture your image, and by your presence you are deemed to consent to being filmed. So you also consent to us using those images and the sound recordings for webcasting or training purposes. May I next introduce you to the rest of the platform party. On my left, we have our Deputy Town Mayor, Councillor Sally Commando, who is our Deputy Town Mayor, and hopefully will be our next Town Mayor in May. So I hope that you'll all support her, and she's doing a great job so far. So welcome, Sally. And on my right, we have the Town Clerk and Chief Executive of Dunstable Town Council, Mr. Paul Hodson. Paul keeps us all in order. He has a very, very interesting job. Okay, so item 2 of the agenda this evening are the minutes. Okay, so item 2 of the agenda is the minutes from last year's town meeting, so the 2024 town meeting, a copy of which was included in the agenda, so hopefully you've all had a chance to look at those. And I'm going to ask members of the council, our councillors, Oh, anyone can move to sign? I sign? Oh gosh, anybody, can I have someone that's willing to move that I sign these minutes as a true record, true and correct record of the proceedings from last year? Thank you. And is that seconded? Thank you, Councillor Tamara. I didn't know anyone could do that. That's awesome. Okay, all those in favour? of me accepting these minutes? Do we need
We'll be fine.
It's fine, that motion is carried. Is anybody against? Anybody against? No? Any abstentions? Okay, I shall sign the minutes. Okay. The next item is not actually included in the original agenda, but I know there's lots of people here that are very excited to hear about the additional item. We are going to be inviting online a speaker from Cash Access UK to talk about the Community Banking Hub, which should hopefully be with us in the next year. And I'm going to pass over now to Thea. Thank you, Thea.
Hi everyone. Hey. Welcome to my house. Okay, so I just like pop on for a few minutes to answer any questions really about the banking hub that you are going to get in Dunstable. They are not a very well-known piece on the high street yet. We are growing quite rapidly. We're catching up with Greggs on the high street. But it's not something that everyone will know about. So I just wondered, with the sort of the news that you're losing Santander, maybe, some feelings around that. Maybe you can fire some questions at me. Does everyone know what a banking hub is and the concept of it? So any information that I can provide you now, I'm happy to answer any questions.
John.
Isn't it correct that you cannot close a branch, a bank now, until a hub is actually open?
Yes, so basically what's happened with the last bank in town, which is how this announcement's come about. So Santander has said they're going to close 95 branches over the next year. So what will happen is they can't close the one in Dunstable until we put a service in. So we have 12 months from that announcement to get a hub in place, which Cash Access, which is who I work for, we will find the perfect place for it, fit it out and open it up for you. So yeah, you'll have Santander until that provision is in place, so continuation of services.
Any more questions for Thea about the banking hub?
Hello, I just wanted to find out if all the banks are covered at the banking hub. So if you belong to Barclays or Lloyds, can that all be used at the one banking hub that you've got?
Okay, I think I heard that correctly. So what will happen is we will reach out to the 5 largest market share banks in your area, and we will offer them a day in the hub. So the hub will open, and you'll have a post office run counter, so all the cash, paying in checks, everything like that can be done there. Any day, any bank. But you'll have a separate room, which is like a private area where you can go and talk to your community banker. So more than likely, if Santander are the last bank to close, I'm pretty certain that it will be a Santander person there 1 day a week. And then the other 4 days will be offered to the nearest, the largest market share banks in the area. So we will find more, that will come out as we go along the process. It will be worked out and communicated to the community.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just ask, what about those that work on Saturdays that need to go to the bank to sort out their banking on a Saturday? They work Monday to Friday. They normally go into Santander on a Saturday, talk to the members of staff there. So are these banking representatives not able to be there on a Saturday as well on a rotational basis to support those people that can't get there during the week?
So our operating model at the moment is Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Saying that, we have trialled Saturday mornings in a couple of locations. So it is something that is on the radar, but as we open it, it will start as Monday to Friday, 9 to 5.
So are there any services that we could normally do in a bank that we won't be able to do in the hub?
So all banks offer different services. It depends on your bank. If you are digital, you can go onto the Cash Access website and you can go to banking, the banking part of it, and select your bank from the drop down, and it will tell you exactly what you can do in the hubs according to the bank. I mean, with the hubs, it's a fairly new concept, and this is not something that anyone's ever done before. You know, the FCA has told the banks they need to provide access to cash and banking services where they're closing branches, which is where we've come in. So saying that, we're growing rapidly, and we're putting hubs in all across the UK. It's going really well. But saying that, you know, we have a whole team of innovation. So we are implementing pilots for printing, etc. I know it sounds really simple to put a printer in a hub, but you've got to get 10 banks to agree and go through all security, and it's a work in progress. But we're always innovating within the hubs to provide, you know, the complete customer journeys and provide a good customer experience.
Any other questions? You can ask one.
Yeah, Theo, just a couple of things.
Yep.
I think we're due to have an ATM as well, so if you could comment on that maybe, and could you just say something about the timescale and process for finding a venue and the kind of stipulations you've got around the venue that would be appropriate?
Absolutely. So yes, so Link has said that you are a Type A hub, which means you'll get an ATM. So with an ATM, I don't know if you've ever seen an ATM, they're quite big pieces of kit, so we need to find somewhere really prominent on the high street that's really easy to get to, that everyone can access. We need to make sure that it's as inclusive as possible, and potentially have some parking nearby as well. So what our teams will do is, as soon as that announcement's made, we've got a whole team of people that go out and look for the property. They will be working behind the scenes with agents, with the local community, to try and find somewhere that's, like I say, that's really prominent on the high street, easy to get to, good transport links, etc. That will then go on for a few months. If, and it does happen, sometimes in some locations the properties just aren't there for some reason, we just can't find somewhere that is the right fit. We don't want to put a hub in and it's not right, so we will wait to find the perfect location. If it comes to the point where we haven't found anywhere, we're going on 6 months, we will start looking for a temporary home for the banking solution. So it might well be that we borrow a little bit of the library or somewhere like that, and we set up a temporary counter and community banker room, just to make sure you've got that service in place within the year, whilst we try and find the permanent location. All being well, and the majority of times we can go in, find the right place. It's roughly, you're looking at sort of 1,000 square foot. It's nice if it's just a big rectangle that we can just go straight in and pop everything in. So it should have 2 counters. But if it's got an ATM, we could always have a look at 1 counter, or depends on the location, etc. So yes, we are looking at that, but something will be in within the year.
John.
I can do it without it. So, will you be working with the local authority?
Sorry, John, you'll be next. Sorry, John.
So, will you work with the local authorities, town council, for recommendations of a suitable site?
Yeah, so basically, I'm going to come out to the community, and I'll do some community events, and everyone, like yourselves, you're more welcome to drop in and ask me any questions. Behind the scenes, we've got our project managers for the temporary solution, and we've also got project managers for the permanent solution, in contact with the right people. And I know that I've already had a meeting, and everyone's been super helpful and put me in contact with some great people. And the local information is really helpful for us. Okay, so we don't know your location, so any help and recommendations is much appreciated.
Thank you.
As this is being run by the post office, is it on? Yeah. As this is being run by the post office, are you going to also provide post office facilities there as well? And is there, as we have lots of building societies and banks that are closed, with the right sort of footage that you need, why not use one of those, maybe even the Santander office?
So let's answer the first bit. So the post office, the counter is, yes, we employ a banking hub operator. that is a member of the post. They have to be postmasters to be able to run a banking hub. It's nothing to do with the post office in regards to this. It's a completely different operating model. We do not offer any post services as in parcels or foreign currency. They are just there to run the banking hub, supply a team behind the counter and deal with all the cash and the checks on site. We don't have anyone else that could do that for us. The Horizon system is what processes all the cash and everything. There's no one else that could run those counters for us. That's why we bring the post office in. The other question around the banks being empty, obviously we do have a look at those first, right? They're an obvious choice for us. Some bank buildings are, you know, particularly the Lloyd's buildings are sort of 3 stories high, lovely buildings, but they've been derelict for a long time. And generally they're just, we only need 1 floor, ground floor property. So it all depends on who the landlord is, what they're willing to offer us, price, because we're not for profit organisation. But yes, the banks will be considered, absolutely.
I actually have a question. I have 2. You've asked some of them already. Thea, thank you. You're looking for this type A hub that we're allowed to have, a building of about 1,000 square foot. Is there any limit on how much that you can spend on a building of that size? Is cost going to be a barrier?
Cost is sometimes a barrier, yes. We do have budgets in place for each location. I don't have that information personally. I'm not involved in any of the property side of it myself, but yeah, it can absolutely come into it.
And sorry, just my other question was, in terms of the banking hub itself, I know you can't say at the moment which banks will be inside of it, but is it right to say that it will be a booking only service, or can customers just drop in?
Yes.
Okay.
So it is mostly a walk-in service. There are a few banks, I know the HSBC and Barclays offer afternoon appointments that you can book online. If you are digital, obviously, you can go and book something. Generally speaking, those appointments are maybe for something a little bit more complex. If you need maybe an hour or so with the community banker. The majority of appointments that you'll have in the hub, appointments but walk-ins with the community banker, I think the average appointment's about 15 minutes long. So the waits are normally not very long. You just go in and walk in and they're free. Or if not, we've always provide lots of comfy chairs if you do have to wait for your community banker.
Thank you. Mark, you had a question.
Thank you. I'm not a Dunstable resident, I'm an Ampthill resident, but I just wanted to say that we've had a banking hub now for a year or so because we lost all our banks in Ampthill and Flitwick. It has worked brilliantly. Our delay actually was finding the correct premises, and I was going to say do engage with assets at Central Beds Council to see if they can be of assistance.
That's fantastic, thank you. So have you met the lovely Bill, the banking hub operator at Ampthill?
Yes, he really is a character.
He's lovely, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for that. That's fantastic.
Thank you. Thea, if people want to get in touch with you for more information, is that easy for them to do?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I can forward on my details. I'm the regional manager for the South England, South Wales. Just give me a call, drop me an email. Always happy to help. And also, if anyone has any property that they think is relevant, then please, by all means, it's a team effort. So do get in touch.
Okay, thank you. I thank you so much for coming to speak to us this evening, especially at short notice. And we'll find a way to distribute your details for those that want them. Thank you again.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Okay, so that was really helpful, I thought, considering how quickly we found out about the Santander closing. I think we only found out this time last week. Sorry, just 1 second. I think we only found out this time last week. So I think given that the town council have moved very quickly to make this meeting happen and to get information about the plans for the community hub, congratulations. Thank you to the town council actually for moving on that really, really quickly. Sorry, you had a question?
What I was going to say is, I own the building, send them there. They haven't even approached me to say they were leaving.
Okay, well perhaps we can perhaps we can catch up and share details at the end of the meeting if you would like to stay behind and share your details with us. Thank you. Right. Okay, so moving on to the next item of the agenda, we have now got a briefing from Dunstable Town Council, and Jack is going to be delivering that. So, Jack, would you like to come down to the front, please? Is he going to go here? Come and have a seat with us, Jack.
Okay. Right, ready?
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, welcome.
Thank you.
Over to you.
Cool, spotlight on me. So hi everyone, so my name's Jack. I work for Dunstable Town Council. I'm part of the youth and community team in the Town Council, so based in Grove Corner, just over the road. So yeah, I'm just here today to talk to you about what we do within the team, especially to do with community, how we work with different voluntary groups, community organisations, and just the type of work we do within the town. So yeah, I'll be very brief, but yeah, just to quickly go through it really. So yeah, that's me. Yeah, so I've been with the Town Council for about 11 years this year, in various different roles, working from, used to be based in Downside of the community centre, but then changed to be based at Grove Corner to deliver community engagement work across the town. And yeah, that's pretty much it really. We also have a bigger team, so we've got our manager Jill, who's the youth and community manager, got myself, we've got a community services assistant, we've got an older people's officer, and a detached youth team as well. And we run all different services from young people, community engagement, and older people services as well. And for the first time in the Town Council, we've employed a youth worker apprentice, and Elena is in the room somewhere. Give us a wave, Elena, she's just at the back. So we're very fortunate to have a new apprentice as well. So our team has gone from about 3 people to much, much more. So it just allows us to do a lot more engagement work across the town. And so, yeah, just going to briefly go through the services that we do. So we have a young people service. So we have Grove Corner, which is predominantly a youth centre-based service. We run 4 nights of youth provision a week. But we also, for the last couple of years, have had a detached youth service. So that's officers going out and engaging with young people in the community, whether that's in parks, leisure centres, community centres, and in engaging them in a positive way, and also putting on some activities they, have the opportunity to do. Also have the community engagement service, so that's where I come in and my colleague Grant, and we go out and about and deliver community engagement activities, but also work with community groups and things like that. And our older people service as well. So we run 2 lunch clubs a week for different age categories. We run coffee mornings and do lots of different activities for the older people of the community. And so within my role, involves various different things. It's very broad. The majority of it is where possible to support community groups where they need it. So in Grove Corner, we have many different community groups that hire the space. But within my role and our team's role is to support those groups, whether that's with funding bids, looking over funding bids, or creating groups where there's a need. Networking with different organisations or groups. I've recognised quite a few people in the room who I've spoken to or worked with before. And whether that's delivering projects or delivering activities or just offering that support, that's what we're there to do. Whether that's with young people, community groups, or older people. So yeah. And where it says there about kind of, looking at local need as well, looking at the community's needs and what is there that we can do to offer that. And yeah, like I said, creating partnerships with businesses, charities and other organisations as well. Just briefly mention a few examples that we've been involved with or set up. So Dunstable Men in Sheds, I'm sure a lot of you have heard about, and I think they're in the room tonight. Yeah, there they are. So many, many years ago, there was a need for some kind of men's group and I was asked to go to a conference in Milton Keynes where it was quite big, and I thought, what a fantastic initiative, can we put that in Dunstable? And after about a year and a half of trying, we managed to secure one of the town council's facilities, which was Meadway, and they only had half of a shed, I always remember it, there wasn't much in there, but now they're a fully fledged group, they run on their own, you know, you've got your whole committee, you've got funding, you've got the actual building as well, and you do lots of community projects. So we was able to help set that up, but then it's for obviously volunteers to then take that over and take it from there. So there's a little snapshot of that, and it's a great initiative, fantastic initiative. You know, great to reduce loneliness and promote well-being, and it's all about sharing and learning DIY skills. So that's just one example. We have a litter pick borrowing scheme. So recently we worked with the Vale Academy and we delivered a litter pick around the local area with a year group. They absolutely loved it and they wanted to fill their bags, which was brilliant. But we also have a borrowing scheme as well. So any community group, school, you know, scouts group, whoever can contact us and we can provide the equipment for them to run a litter pick and then we get it back. So, and it just creates that sense of pride, you know, for looking after your local area. So we've got that. Also supported Friends of Dunstable Cemetery, create that, and you know, like a volunteer group that help just do low-level maintenance tasks in the cemetery. You know, it could be from weeding to sweeping up to cutting back some bushes on John's call, but yeah. So a lovely group, again, volunteer group. They are very much running on their own. Support from us in the first place, but for us to gradually step back and then to run on their own, and we support them all the way. And it just allows them to have a sense of pride, give a little bit back, and stay active as well at the same time. We do a summer activities programme every summer holidays. So for families and children, throughout the school holidays, we run various different events across the parks, all aimed at families and children, include sports, arts, and just general outdoor events and things like that. And we do a lot of intergenerational projects as well. So, you know, where we've got our older people service and our young people service, we try and bring them together, whether that's a school and our lunch club or various different things. You might have seen under the underpass in Ashton Square, there's an art mural there. So that was a project we did with one of our lunch clubs in a local school, and it was looking about bringing people together. And we've got other projects on the way. So yeah, we try where we can to bring them together. So we've had schools come to our lunch clubs to, you know, do Christmas songs or, you know, things like that. So there's that as well. But as a very brief thing about what I do, yeah, thank you very much. Any questions?
Actually, I think you really undersold that, because what Jack does, what Jack and his team does, is nothing short of miraculous. I don't know how you managed to be in so many different places at once. That art project that you mentioned in the archway in Ashton Square, I was there covering for Councillor Liz Jones last year to open it, and it is stunning. All of the work is stunning. It was community based, you know, people in the community helped.
Yep.
But that piece of work where the older people and the younger people came together, and you got photos of half of one older person and half of one younger person, and then seeing those people meeting each other on the day, it was amazing. It's a really, the projects you do are brilliant, and you are very passionate and very engaging. You engage well with every member of the community that you speak to. So you're a joy to be around. Thank you. Anyway, I could big him up all night, actually, and the whole team, especially the outreach workers. You know, there's been a massive shift in the town centre. Antisocial behaviour, I'd like to say. I live right here, and I see how it's changed over the last year because of the work that the community services team are doing. I should have better introduced you. I'm so sorry I didn't. Does anybody have any questions for Jack and want to know all the wonderful things that he does that he didn't tell you about? Please just raise your hands if you've got any questions. Oh gosh, you got off really lightly there. I think, as usual, you can have a look on the website, on social media pages. There's always lots posted, especially Grove Corner. Oh, we have a question.
One of the questions is to say
Yes.
Oh, really fantastic.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we work with Dunstable and Bloom, who are a local volunteer group, and we support them to run the wheelbarrow competition, or Willy Fantastic. So it's working with lots of different businesses, schools, individuals to decorate and plant a wheelbarrow. So almost like the Scarecrow Festival you've seen elsewhere, we're doing it with wheelbarrows instead. And it's great to see so many groups. So last year we had over 30 participants. It's just a bit of fun just to bring the town together. And so if you're a new group, we provide a wheelbarrow, but we encourage to reuse wheelbarrows where possible and the ones we give you. And yeah, it's just a great little project we do every year, and it's brilliant. So yeah,
Brilliant.
Any more comments or questions?
Well, we would like to just say we are plagued by an element of young, particularly men, that go around the town on trail bikes with no crash helmets on, doing wheelies, and sometimes it's just like the Wild West, and we're on our knees as it is, and then these lads just sort of make a mockery of it. I mean, I'm able to reach out to those lads.
obviously we try where we can. We have the detached team that try and go out and engage with young people that are hanging around in the local area. So and they try and do it in a positive way. The lads on the bikes, it's hard for us to even know who they are sometimes, but and engage as well, because sometimes it's a case of they don't want to engage. And so obviously we have links in with the local policing team. We pass on information as soon as possible where we can. And obviously it's really a matter for the police to deal with. But yeah, so I understand. But it's only what we could do in terms of that, really. So
Yeah. I take on board what you're saying. I think we're all extremely disturbed by it, to be honest. It can be quite intimidating.
yeah.
I would say that as a member of the public, or even as a community services team, it's not something that we should approach directly. It's definitely a job for the police. We should keep reporting. And without putting you on the spot, Inspector, would you like to actually respond to that, Grant, in some way, if that's okay? Thank you.
Certainly, I'll try to. Yeah. So, just for information, I'm Grant Max. I'm the community inspector. I've just taken over from the previous inspector in January. So I was previously the community inspector for North Central Bed, so I covered out of Biggleswade, that end, Flitwick, Ampthill. So yeah, I've just picked up here. And yeah, it is a growing issue, and it does spike, so it drops off through the winter and then picks up again as the weather gets better, and we do try to do the best that we can to identify these young people and deal with them appropriately. We do run an operation. We try to do it once every sort of 6 weeks. We call it Operation Skytree, where we get our resources from traffic, and we get drones, and we spend a day trying to target individuals. But it is one of those things that we'd like to be able to do more proactively, which we are trying to do. But it's identification, and we do rely on everybody to tell us when they see things. There's a piece of legislation that allows us to issue a notice for antisocial riding, but the current legislation states that it has to be witnessed by a police officer. We're trying to develop, and we're trying to get a test case where we use CCTV or members of the public's videos to allow us to do that. So we are dishing out those Section 59 notices based on that information once we identify the individual in the CCTV. But that is not what the legislation says we can do, but we're going to give it a go and see if that works. So we're trying to do different things, but yeah, we get it. But my plea is please report it as much as you can, because then it gives us the locations, times, dates, and if you get videos, send them in, because if they are regular faces, my team will identify them and we'll deal with it.
Thank you. I just want to add also that we do have a Dunstable Joint Committee that meets once every 3 months, where CBC, Central Bedfordshire councillors that are based in Dunstable attend that meeting, and also Dunstable Town Council councillors. And we do engage with the police during those meetings and different agencies. So we do take your voice as much as possible to try and address those issues and find out what the updates are and what new is happening to combat it. We do our best, and I know the police do their best with the resources they've got, But we'll keep continuing to ask those questions and hopefully get it addressed as much as possible. I've got 2 hands up. I'm going to go back to Grant, actually.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. It was just to say about the importance of letting us know. So there was a recent theft of a motor vehicle out towards the back end of Dunstable. It went on to one of your Facebook sites, and as a result of that, we identified the individual. That was at the beginning of March, and he was arrested and charged. So it's really important that information kind of comes in, because we will utilise it and make the most of it.
Thank you. So keep reporting. Yes.
To the inspector, is it true that you are not allowed to pursue suspects without a helmet on blue lights?
It's a difficult one because it is dangerous, and they have to assess it at the time. Anything following a motorbike is always difficult. I am not a suit-trained driver, so I'm not a suit-trained driver, so for me to comment on what we would do when you're behind someone is difficult. It's the same with if it's an ordinary vehicle as well. We have to assess that, so it's difficult, and they know that. But we do have some we call our meteor bikes. We have some off-road bikes as well. So we're trying our best. But yeah, let us know.
Thank you. Okay, we're stealing Jack's thunder. Does anybody have any questions for Jack? Because we're kind of going off topic.
It's all right.
Councillor Brennan. Hi.
I'm going to take the opportunity to complain for one of my residents. So I am a Dunstable Town Councillor and a CBC Councillor. But I'm going to take this opportunity because I want any avenue for this to get to Central Bedfordshire Council and to the people responsible. So the skate park, not the skate park, the BMX track is closed, and it has been closed. And Dunstable Town Council used to be in control of that, and at that point it was open 365 days a year, and now it's not. Now it's only open from April to October, and there are youngsters that use the BMX track who are on the GB Olympic pathway, and they use that for training to apply to be in the Olympics, on the Olympic team, and now they can't because it's closed. So what's going on? Can we do something to get this get the BMX track open, please? Because
Completely
I'd like it to
agree
be
with
open.
you, actually. We should have more, not less, for young people. I would say that we could probably take that up separately, unless, Mark, you might want to speak on that point. I don't know. That is wonderful. So if you'd like to speak to each other at the end, and hopefully as a town council we may even be able to, I'm not sure, I don't want to speak for the town clerk, but hopefully we can write to CBC as well and ask those questions. Thank you for raising it. Okay, I think, shall we move on to our next person and let let Jack go? Thank you, Jack, so much. Thank you. Okay, well, it is my absolute pleasure to move on to our next group who are going to present to you. We've got the Dunstable Food Bank, and Esther, I believe you are going to be talking about what you do in our town.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank
Esther.
you. Good evening, everyone.
Do you have to stand up so people can hear at the back?
Oh, I'm short. Okay, there's no problem. I prefer standing anyway. To walk around a bit more. My name is Esther. I'm the operations assistant at Dunstable Food Bank, and I've been working here for a little over a year. I started as a volunteer, then a trustee, and a paid employee. So I've sort of seen all the different sides of the food bank. So I know I don't have very long to speak, but I'll just give you a brief summary of who we are, what we do, and the updates that we've had in the last year. So Dunstable Food Bank started, we're one of thousands of food banks within the Trussell network, and independent food banks across the UK are over 100 there. And I just think that that really exemplifies the height and the level of food poverty in the UK, to see that there are over 1,200 food banks within the Trussell network, and that does not include independent food banks around us. So bringing us closer to home, Dunstable Food Bank was founded by a local couple, Alan and Sue Sutton, in 2012, in collaboration with local churches. And since then, we now function as a vital lifeline support service for individuals living in LU5, LU6, providing them with emergency 3-day food parcels. So Dunstable Food Bank, we're growing. This is a service or any kind of function, people naturally want to see growth, but this is an area where we don't want to see growth. But the truth is we are growing. And we're grateful for the support we have from our community, but this is something we don't want to see. A few statistics for you. Since we opened in 2012, we have distributed over 400,000 kilograms of food and are estimated to have fed up to 40,000 people or more. Within this last financial year, and the data here was taken last week, so it's a few days old, we are working with over 130 volunteers in our area. We have distributed over 60,000 kilograms of food just this year alone, and each week we are looking to be distributing about 1.1 tonne of food across our 4 centres. So we're operating with 4 centres across Dunstable and Houghton Regis and 1 warehouse. On average, we're estimating to see over 100 people come into our centres each week. And compared to this time in this financial year to last year, we are feeding 7.8 more people than last year. I think that's just staggering. That is too much. Even 5% is too much, not less, 7.8. And in 2023, 44% of the people that received parcels from us were households with children. So in our community, that's the number of children who are experiencing food poverty day to day. The reasons why people come into our centres, the top reason, 59.64% of clients referred to us, are people with low income. These are people who are working. These are our teachers. These are our nurses. The next top reason, people are referred due to changes in their benefits, delays in their benefits. A lot of people don't know what they're eligible for. And we've seen very recently government's changes that affects pensioners and changes that affect disability payments. These are the most vulnerable people in our community, and we're expecting to see them come into food bank more now with these changes. 9.51% are referred to us due to debt, and the rest are coming to us for other personal reasons. Might be homelessness, might be people who don't have recourse to public funds due to their immigration status, people who are experiencing domestic violence, and for some people it's their lifestyle choices. And what just strikes me from these figures is, and I hope it strikes you too, that there is no face to the food bank. There is no expectation, there is no one reason. People face very complex reasons. And the truth is, most people in the UK right now are one paycheck away from needing food bank services. So let's talk about the food bank. I'm really grateful to be here. Let's talk about the real reasons before people need food. Let's talk about the financial reasons, the reasons why teachers and nurses cannot make ends meet. So, move on quickly to what's new for us. Our level of need, we are feeding more people than we have done in the last 2 years. The financial year is not over yet. It ends at the end of this year, and we still expect the figures to stay the same. Even though those numbers will look different at the end of this week, the trend is still the same. The need is increasing. And our key strategy in the food bank with our board of trustees and our team, our key strategy is just to respond to the need, whatever that might look like, is to be ready to respond. Right. Another thing that's new with us is that we run a very successful partnership with a team at Citizens Advice Dunstable. We run a project called the Financial Inclusion Project. And the aim of this project is really to address those needs that I've mentioned, is to address the reasons why people are coming to the food bank. We want to support people to maximise their income, to maximise getting access to their benefits. There are a lot of people who are digitally excluded and just need that extra support in making those long-winded 67-page documents. You've just got people who cannot do it without help. And that's what this team at Citizens Advice do. They provide free, confidential, expert advice, and it's a human face. It's a human face to people's problems. They attend each of our centres and welcome people to allow them to talk about their problems and to address it. So we've run this project for over 3 years now, going to 4 years with Citizens Advice, and our funding has come from Trussell Trust, but our funding is unfortunately ending shortly. So we are eagerly looking for continuation funding to ensure this vital service. We have seen the value of this service. Our community needs this service. The people we serve depend on this service. So Michelle and I, who's my operations manager, we're working hard to secure funding for this important service. Lots of people would know about our warehouse and the difficulties we have faced there. We had a great year being neighbours with the Dunstable Town Council on High Street North. We occupied the old Argos building. And in that year, it was amazing. We had such a lovely space to really engage with our community, to run fundraising events, outreach events, and to support other charities as well to store their equipment for what they were doing. Our lease has now come to an end, and that premises is empty again. We don't know what's happening next with that building, but we have moved out as of last Friday. We're pleased to announce that we now have new premises, and we are looking to be in the old Brewers Decorators Centre, close to the new estate around Eastern Avenue on Luton Road. It's an excellent location, and so pleased to have a team of supporters and our operations manager and our chairman, who they've worked so tirelessly to acquire this space and to negotiate positive relationships with our new landlords. And thank you, Louise, for all your help as well. The operational needs continue. We continue to move food in and out and collect. So, we've got one van that does the run for us, our team of amazing volunteers who support all our operational needs. And finally, we're so grateful for the opportunity to collaborate with other organisations in our region. We've been able to do that so much more in the space we've had last year. And this is something that we're looking to improve on and develop over the next few years. Yes, some more information about how to help us. Think of us during your shop. If one can of beans goes a really long way, so please think of us. Oh, I forgot to mention also, we have not yet moved into the Brewers building. All our food and stock currently spread across Dunstable and Houghton Regis for the time being until we start our move, and in a few people's sheds, but we are moving. So this is the list of our most needed items. We've got an amazing warehouse manager who monitors our stock and tells us what we need each month, and we can advertise and get more food coming in. And that's it from me.
I need to stretch my legs. Before we move on to questions, I just want to say that this last year as mayor, I've nominated the food bank as my charity to support, and I always started out by saying from the beginning that my aim was not to raise money but to raise awareness, to create conversations and to remove stigma about why the food bank is needed at all and the types of people that need to use it. People like me, people like you, we're all one paycheck away from needing the food bank. And I haven't accessed the food bank myself, but I've been in a position at times in my life where I've needed to, and my pride maybe stopped me because of what people might think. And nobody should be ashamed, to access a resource. That's what it's there for. But these people are amazing. Over the last year, I've got to know Esther, Michelle, Stuart, one of the trustees, the warehouse manager, Angela, and the huge amount of volunteers that give up their time to make sure that that runs like clockwork. You want to see the warehouse. It is so well organised, and they do an absolute amazing job. It's so professional. So yeah, thank you for all that you do. It has been a real pleasure to work with you over the last year, and I fully intend to continue my support for you guys once I finish being mayor. Thank you. I'm going to open up the room for questions to Esther. If you want to just raise your hand and we'll get a microphone to you if you have any questions. Oh, come on. Don't be shy. Johnson.
Thank you so much, Esther. I think that presentation is eye-opening, incredible statistic. But I think most importantly, it's obviously thinking, how do we continue? That's obviously the premise of the end of the conversation on the presentation, the continuation of the service. And I was just thinking, CBC, the local authority should be in a position to help the food bank. And so I know we've got some CBC councillors here, and hopefully they can give us some information about how they could lobby the council, to help the continuation of this service. Because I think, with everything, with the statistic and everything that's happening in the community, it will be a shame for the service to struggle to support the community as you have been. And so I wondered if any CBC councillor can give us some information out, whether or not there's something going on in CBC that could help the continuation of this service in terms of providing funding.
Thank you.
Actually, I am the CBC councillor. I'm also the deputy leader of Central Beds Council, but I am here with my day job as I work for Community Voluntary Service, which you'll hear from later. Yes, I was going to mention to Esther, actually, please contact CVS to begin with, because one of the things we do is assist groups in terms of fundraising and actually pinpointing where you can source funding. And certainly, I know in terms of your, I think you have got new premises now, but always speak to Central Beds or your CBC councillors to see if we can assist, because we do, as councillors, as Matt and others have, we do have our ward councillor grants as well.
Could I respond to that? Yes, we have received support from CBC over the premises search, so that was provided good interaction with CBC. We did come to some options, so it provided positive. We have also worked with CVS, because I know you've hosted a funding week with organisations that can provide funding. We do struggle when funding is required for very specific projects, or they want to fund new projects rather than existing projects. And this project we run with CA is used to fund the salary of the advisors that provide this service. Again, a lot of funders might not fund costs such as salaries and might fund projects that might cover buildings or rent rather. So that's been our struggle with finding support for the financial inclusion project. But we are hoping that with the experience we've had recently with CBC and the premises searches, open the door to encourage more collaborative work with them.
Thank you. Any more questions for the food bank? Okay, I want to thank you, Esther, for coming up and speaking so eloquently. Although it wasn't my primary objective to raise money for the food bank, please, if anybody has anything to offer them, then you can go online and you can donate, or we can share the bank details with you. And if you are in shopping in the supermarket, please put some items in the trolley, which will be by the tills in whichever supermarket you go to. And thank you all for your support in advance. I didn't actually tell you all that we do have a few town councillors here who I didn't introduce. I do apologise. If you'd like to put your hands up, town councillors, if anybody wants to speak to any of them at the end. And then we've also got our twin hatters as well, so CBC councillors and Dunstable town councillors. There's one over the corner there that's hiding his hand. And also we've got our CBC councillors as well. And I'd like to warmly welcome our new High Sheriff of Bedfordshire, Camilla King, who has joined us tonight on her first outing. Welcome, and I wish you the very best of luck in your new role, which you just took yesterday, I believe. Saturday. What day is it today? Gosh, Monday. It's Monday. Okay. No, congratulations and welcome to Dunstable. Right, okay, so I'm going to move on to the next item, which is one of my favourite groups in Dunstable. We have Catherine, who's come from the Dunstable Community Halls, which is part of the Beds RCC, Bedfordshire Rural Communities charity, and she's going to come here and tell you all about the wonderful things that are happening in Dunstable and the rest of Bedfordshire. Welcome, Catherine. Thank you.
Feels a bit like being on a game show.
Yes.
Thank you. For those who don't know me, I'm Catherine. I work for Bedfordshire Rural Communities charity, and I'm based at Dunstable Community Halls. So Beds RCC is obviously a county-wide charity based around supporting communities in whatever way is needed. We merged with Luton Bedfordshire Youth Association in 2021-22 and took over the old community buildings in Manchester Place that some of you may or may not know. And that's become a seat for us for our projects in this area. And I'm going to tell you some of the things that happen there. So obviously we have a space that we let out, parties, regular groups, all sorts of things. We run a warm space, we have a community garden, we run projects like social prescribing, IT support, wellbeing walks, good neighbours and time banking. So at the halls we have all sorts of different groups there at the moment, well, right from exercise classes to adult education, theatre groups, churches, and we have rooms that can seat anything from 2 people up to halls big enough for 90 to 100 people for parties. So we have quite a good footfall per week, being so central in the town. Of course, we don't have much parking, which is a bit of a problem sometimes, but we are very central. Also, we have Barclays in the community there 2 days a week, which is quite topical, for cashless support and advice. And we're also a drop-off place for donations to the food bank. So our warm space that we run on Thursdays between 10 and 1 is just a space that's open to anyone to come along, get some food, socialise, play games. You can also access our social prescribing service here. We always have at least one social prescriber on site on a Thursday. You can get advice and referrals and sign up to other projects as well if you need other support. And we're very grateful to the RCF for the funding that's helping us to keep that going for another year. We have a community garden, which is starting to pick up again, daffodils coming through, and we've been really grateful for the support from Dunstable Town Council with that. It's a lovely space, it's very colourful, and all the different things that are growing are a bit random. We have had some very delicious potatoes last year, but also daffodils and other flowers. And we've also got a newer garden up outside the other hall, which is Tim's Corner. That's more of a mindfulness space, so you can go and sit there, listen to the breeze and the leaves and anything else that you can hear, which is surprisingly quiet for the middle of Dunstable. As I said, we have our social prescribing service, which covers all of Bedfordshire, but we have a social prescriber for Dunstable who is there on Thursdays. A brilliant project that helps to take pressure off GPs. We also run You Can Do IT, which is one-to-one IT support for people who are digitally excluded. The focus is mainly about getting people onto the NHS app, but also all the other skills that are required to get up to that level and anything else that comes up and is needed by that individual. We're hoping to expand this a bit in the near future. And there's our website if you'd like any more information. I've got some leaflets at the back. And thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, Catherine. Does anybody have any questions for Catherine? If you'd like to put your hand up, we'll get a microphone to you. Anybody? Gosh, you're very shy tonight. Well, I have something to say. When I was deputy mayor, I got to know what you guys do in the Dunstable community halls. I visited once, and then I was kind of hooked. I saw the garden. I saw the different types of people that were using that space. A lot of people that might normally be socially excluded or isolated, and they found a place where they can be themselves with each other in the Dunstable community halls with you guys. And every time I've gone, it's grown. And I know that other councillors visit there regularly as well, and there's other councillors that were councillors way before me that have watched it grow and change over time, and that are also very proud of the work that you've done. But yeah, I've watched people change. They've grown in confidence, and I've watched the group grow. The activities you do there are amazing. You know, making wreaths near Christmas, and it's just amazing. The banking hub obviously is a really good thing too, because it's been really helpful to a lot of people, and I've heard really good feedback about it. But your free lunch on a Thursday lunchtime, your jacket potatoes are awesome. And I get quite emotional each time I come and I see how much more it's growing, and I see the same people each time that I'm meeting that are growing in their own confidence. So yeah, I just love it there. And of course, I gave you the Mayor's Award during the civic service because I felt it really important that you be recognised as a group for all that you do. And actually, again, she did not tell you all the amazing things that they do there, but please, you can visit at any time. Councillor Brennan has got his hand up for a question or a comment.
Hi. Sorry. So, is it right that you have an element to do with biodiversity and ecology as well? And are you aware of Central Bedfordshire's currently working on local nature recovery strategy, which could be fed into? It would be really good to get your opinion on the local area of how Dunstable can feed into that local nature recovery strategy that they're working on.
Yeah, I think that's something we'd definitely be interested in. I have some leaflets at the back. Our community garden is looked after by our green social prescriber, I should have made clear. So she's the person to speak to about that, because she looks after the garden and takes care of any projects and partnerships linked with the garden. So yeah, I'm sure they would definitely be interested in that.
And we can put you in touch. Would you like contact details? Awesome. That's brilliant. That sounds really good. Thank you. Anybody else got any questions or comments? Okay, it is a place where you can drop in, especially on a Thursday, right? Yeah. So anybody wants to visit and see the amazing work that's being done there, or have a free cup of tea or a jacket potato, I'm sure you'd be very welcome. And if you want to volunteer, then speak to Catherine. Thank you so much, Catherine. Thank you. Right, next up, it does feel like a game show, doesn't it? Next up, we have a briefing from Citizens Advice. Oh no, I'm so sorry. I've jumped ahead. I met this lady at the weekend, Karen. Karen's going to brief us on the Bedfordshire and Luton Community Foundation. They've got an amazing exhibition on, which is in partnership with other organisations in the library at the moment. So get in there.
Project. And it was lovely to meet you on
Thank you.
Saturday. Yeah, do go along. It's a project that we help support funding for that is come out of the Safer Streets programme that the OPCC run, and it's all about the voices of women taking back the streets, taking back spaces where they've felt unsafe in the past and telling their stories. And I think it's an amazing resource because it has the potential to be used in schools, to have conversations with young women and young men, of course, about safety and that. So do go along and have a look, it's fantastic. So thank you. I just want to say hello. I'm Karen, I'm the CEO of Bedfordshire and Luton Community Foundation. It's, and like you were saying, we're an awkward name because it's Bedfordshire and Luton. I'll apologise for that. It's not my idea. I'd like to change it, but I'm not someone who believes in spending lots of money on rebranding. So we're going to kind of go with it. I'd rather the money go into the work. So we are a community foundation, and what that basically means is we're an organisation that is there to give money out, which will all be like, yes! So we are a grant-making organisation, but we're a community organisation, community foundation. We're not like a family foundation. We don't sit on a wealth fund or anything like that. We earn our money, and we do it through partnership. Now, we're part of a network. There's 47 across the whole UK. We tend to be county-based, or county and a little bit bigger based. And you'd be amazed how many people in Bedfordshire still don't know that we're there. So, you know, this is an opportunity to really find out and come and ask me about what money. I'll tell you a little bit about funds that are available. I'll just touch on it a bit. But as a community foundation, they came out of local philanthropy. So they often came out of local councillors going, what can we do for our community? How can we get some money together and give some support? So almost all of them started with a handful of councillors coming together and saying, let's do something different. The work we do is about understanding and addressing the need in the community. It's identifying challenges and finding a way of connecting people up and getting money to those people. My view is, it's not our money that we get in, it's your money. Our job is to help you get it, deliver the projects, and survive and thrive as a result of it in the community. And we do that by partnership. Like I say, we don't sit on a wealth fund of our own, we earn our money. We earn our money by getting donations from individuals, from philanthropists, from other trusts and foundations in partnership, local government, national government, the OPCC, the NHS, the ICB. And our job is to really try and understand that need by working with groups like those who are here today. Because you are on the front line, you see it day to day. We don't, there's 9 of us, we're trying to cover a whole county. As most of us, we can't know unless you're like the mayor and you go out into the community, you see it firsthand. That's how you really understand what the challenge is. So we rely on our voluntary sector partners and our charity partners to tell us what's going on. Because the more we know, the more we can go back to the people with the money and go, you know, you want to spend your money here, that's not where it's needed here. And that's our job. In the past, I think a lot of foundations like ours were quite linear. The money would come in, we'd give it out in a grant-making programme, and we report back. And that, to me, didn't feel right. I wanted to make it more of a circular kind of an ecosystem where we go, there's some money, but where's the need? Okay, so the need is here. How do we influence the people with the money to think differently about how they spend it? And then how do we take that learning and take it back and say, why don't you make policy changes? Why don't you change the way you deliver your strategy and what your focus is for your future investments? So that's how we're trying to work. Just some headlines, because, you know, we are quite big. So last year, this is our report that ended in March of last year. Our new data hasn't come out yet. It will come out in April. We gave out a little over £4 million across the whole county. But that was, we had applications worth £6.7 million, and that says a lot about need. People don't apply because they've got spare time and they think, let's fill in an application form, as you know. You know, no one does that just for fun. Well, I hope they don't. There's an enormous amount of need. We are proud of the fact that we have got such a high success rate of taking those people applying for funding in there. I met this morning with another charity, I won't say who, a foundation who give out funding. Not a community foundation like us, they're a family foundation. And their success rate of people applying for funding is 5%. So out of every 100 applications, 5 get funded, as is 60. And the reason for that is we don't just sit there. We're not a faceless computer. We try our best with our small team to build a relationship. We have Meet the Funder events. We'll come out. We'll have a conversation. If you've got an idea of a project you want funded, don't go straight to the website. Give us a call. Say, I've got an idea for a project. Have you got anything that we could apply for? And we will talk to you about it. We'll say, are you ready? Or don't apply for that funding. Apply for that funding. That's our job, is to sort of slightly hold your hand through the process. You know, it's about saying, before you apply, remember to think about these things. And before you press go, have you got that policy? Have you got that? And if you haven't got it, have you spoken to CVS? Because they can help you with that. So that's part of what we're doing. That's why our success rate is so high. Because we want to work with you, because you know where the need is. And if we don't know what the need is, we can't make the people who've got the money get it to the right place. Makes sense. Not rocket science, is it? So we've actually awarded 266 grants in that year. It's much higher this year already, out of 514 applications. So what does that look like for Dunstable? Just in the last 3 years, so this is just a little snapshot, we've been able to support 21 voluntary sector organisations through 11 projects that we've funded with over £100,000 of funding. That's not enough, because there's a lot of money available for Dunstable. But if you don't know about us, you can't apply for it. If we don't know about you, we can't help you get the money. See? Makes sense to me. So this is what we want to do. I want to see that number going up. And when we know that there's need, if we haven't got the right fund right now, if we understand the need is, when the opportunity is there, we will be jumping on that and going, excuse me, Mr. So-and-so over there, you seem to have some money. We know where that can be spent well. So that's our job to do that. And there are lots and lots and lots of programmes that we do that cover this area. The obvious ones are things like Luton Rising, which is the Luton Borough Council's ownership of the airport. They run a fund called Near Neighbours. Near Neighbours is up to, I'm not going to go into the detail of the criteria for these. You can look on the website or chat to me. Big one there is the airport operator. So they have a big geography, and it reaches into Central Beds, and it covers Dunstable. Their community trust fund, their Greener Futures fund, is up to £10,000 you can apply for. You know, we know you can make that money go a long way. We've got the Frank Branston Fund, a second Greener Futures fund that's about to come out soon, Whitbread, our Ludon money, Jacobs. So we've got quite a lot of pots of money that are available, and it can be hard to navigate. And we know that there's other funding out there, which is why we always say to people, speak to us first. Because if you speak to us first, we'll direct you to the right one. By the time you've spent a day going through all the criteria, trying to work out what it is. And we know one of the biggest challenges that most voluntary organisations face is you try and fit your project to the fund. And that's a nightmare, because you know it's not going to go anywhere. We are very good at helping you find the right place to get the funding that you need, and to direct you to it. If it's not us, direct you to somewhere, and give you help and support on what you do need to think about. And it's so, so important that you get that help. And we also want to do more. We're not just about being a grant maker. We're there to support the voluntary and charity sector to not just survive but thrive. Because we know that councils can't deliver on their own. The policing can't do it all. The NHS can't do it all. If they don't have a really robust and sort of rich and well-functioning voluntary and charity sector, none of this is going to work. So we want to help connect people up. We want to make sure that we are offering not just advice and guidance and working with wonderful CVS and others, but getting people to partner up. There's lots of conversations about food banks and how they're all working. We don't want to spread ourselves too thin. Let's invest where it's good. Let's get everyone working together. Make the money go deeper and further than just spread it so thin. And we want to look at long-term funding. It's the golden ticket. So much funding, as you've said, as Grace said, that is short-term, is project funding. And that is the biggest frustration we face, because we want to have 2-year, 3-year and continuous funding. One thing we do with our funding is people can, 15% of what they ask for from any of our funding can go on core costs. You can put that towards staff, rent, electricity bills, toilet paper, whatever you need. That can just go on core costs, and that is higher than any other funder offers. So we've put that in, and it's in our policy. It's also probably worth saying we've had a change recently in how we fund as well. Previously, you could only ever have 3 funding applications with us at any one time. So 3 different funded projects going at any one time. We've changed that because the need has grown. You can now have 3 projects of over £5,000 and 3 projects under £5,000. That's 6 funded projects with us at any one time. And that's really, really helpful, hopefully. That's me. I've not sent you lots of links to our website because hopefully you can find our website, but I'm going to stick around a bit. Come and have a chat with me, please do. And really happy to kind of come and meet you and answer any questions.
Wow, that was really inspiring, actually. That sounds really good. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interest in this room. And actually, as councillors, we can spread that news and tell people about your organisation. Because, wow, you know, just being able to actually help people to find the right funding and not to maybe sort of fail on an application because it just wasn't the right one. Oh, that's brilliant.
And also that thing about councillors. As councillors as well, you're out there with your constituents talking, you know what the need is. Invite us along to come to a meeting. Invite us to sit down with you when a group of you are speaking about need. The more we know what's going on, we can't be everywhere, but the more we know what's going on, when that person turns up and says, I've got £100,000 and I want to do some work in an area and address it, we've got ideas. We can go, right, great, yeah, we know the need is there. If we're not invited to the conversation, we can't connect those things up. So councillors, please, yes, reach out as well.
That's brilliant, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Karen? If you would like to put your hands up. Yes, sir. Stuart.
Hi. Previous experience with funding has been that, my experience anyway, has been that the people that know the system get the money, and whereas a lot of people who struggle, etc., together, do you equalise it somehow and make it easier for those folk?
Absolutely. Because we're a community foundation, it's absolutely about breaking down barriers to funding. It's about more than equality, it's about equity as well, and giving everyone the fair chance. Now, we know we already, the gentleman there at the back spoke about the work that they do to help groups get funding. CVS also offer training around that, but this is why I always say when working with us, the first port of call is to give us a call. Like most funders, my advice would be most funders, whether it's the National Lottery or Arts Council or even us, they want to be involved in a project at the very start. And what a lot of groups often make a mistake is they've got like a perfect formed idea, what they think is a perfect idea. And like I say, they try and squeeze it into the funding criteria. It's better to come and say, this is the problem we've got. We've got an idea as what we'd like to do. What do you think? And at that point, we can start to say, that sounds brilliant, but you probably need a safeguarding policy. Why don't you speak to Martin? And also, have you thought about this? And have you got enough capacity? And so we will start to help shape the idea with you. Because we want to fund successful projects. We don't want to say no. So absolutely, it's about equity, it's about breaking down that. And we run regular Meet the Funder sessions. We do it through CVS, and they have like a funder online platform. When was it? It was recent, wasn't it? Yeah, because the team came. So we do those, but we also do targeted ones where we come to a geographic area and we go, come and find out about our funding. So more of those will be coming up. But yeah, absolutely. So my advice would be, with any funder, give them a call first, but definitely with us, start with a phone call, definitely.
Thank you. Any, Councillor Brennan?
Hello. Do you fund one-off events as well, sort of outreach events? I am working with Central Bedfordshire College to help organise the first Pride event in Dunstable. So they need funding. Yep. Is that something that you guys would be able to help with?
Almost certainly, yes. So we were one of the first, because of the type of funding we get, which tends to be small pots of money, we're often very good at those kind of first year pilot event, that first initial event, because they're relatively small pots. So we funded Luton's Pride, the very first Luton Pride when that came out. Remember, what we fund is charities or charitable activity. So if it's a school or a college, slightly off from your question, but if you've got a school with a PTA, we can give money to the PTA, but it can't be for curriculum stuff. So we can fund a school through its PTA to do an extracurricular activity or a green garden, green space or something. But events like that, we definitely do fund community events, but they have to be about, it's all about addressing the kind of community cohesion, community safety, well-being. That's how you couch them. And sometimes people, again, make a little mistake with funding bids where they go, fund an event. And you go, no, what you're saying is you want to fund community harmony and making a stronger community. It's all about that sort of nuance of language, isn't it? You're actually you're doing something. It kind of doesn't matter that it's an event. What you're trying to do is bring a community together to build community cohesion. That's what you're doing. It happens to be through an event. So sometimes it's about how you share that idea, which is why I come back again to speak to us, so we make sure that we understand what you want to do and we can direct you to the right place.
Thank you. Any more questions or comments before we move on to the next one? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Karen. That's brilliant. Okay, I mean, imagine if we'd missed Karen. That was amazing. I just skipped on to the next one. So now we do have a briefing from the Citizens Advice Dunstable, and I'd like to invite John. Yes.
I haven't got any good graphics. We didn't know that it was going to be graphic, so I've got a form. Basically, I'm John Kane. I'm the Vice Chair of Citizens Advice for Dunstable and District. I assume that you all know about Citizens Advice. Basically, Dunstable and District, what we've done is we've seen just under 3,000 people since March last year. The amount of people that are coming to see us for all different ranges of queries has grown hugely. This is especially since Central Bedfordshire now don't really have many face-to-face meetings with people. And it's very difficult for a lot of people, especially people that have got problems like they've got a housing problem, a benefit problem. They need the human touch to actually fulfill and help somebody fill in the form and know the correct people to contact. Citizen Advice in Dunstable, we're now located in the Central Bedfordshire Leisure Centre, Dunstable Leisure Centre. We've got a great place there with the library. It's open for people to visit us. They can phone up to make an appointment. They can just walk in. But on top of that, if they can't get to us, we can talk to them on the phone and whatever technology they can do, like Skype or whatever there is around. And the older you get, the less you get into technology. I've got a mayor there having a quick laugh. Maybe we should talk to him. We have dealt with over 8,000 issues since this, and the three top issues we've dealt with have been benefits, housing, and providing charitable support and food bank vouchers. You heard from the food bank. The people, they send the people to us first. We then vet the people to make sure that the people, are eligible for it. And we also issue food vouchers as well, and then we send them through and make an appointment for to go to the food bank. This has proved to be exceptionally successful, but unfortunately, they're looking for new funding for October this year, which is a real shame. On top of that, we also do social prescribing, but we do social prescribing with the doctors. So when the doctors actually see somebody and they think to the people, I can give the person antidepressants, I can give them medicine and various things like that. But quite often, a lot of the problems that people have, they go to the doctor with. They can't be done by medical and drugs. So what happens is, the doctor will refer them to our Citizens Advice, our social prescriber, who will meet with them and go through all of the problems that they're having, which is making them feel ill. And we've had a huge success there. we've had over 2,500 people over the last 2 years come to us being referred direct from the doctors. But it doesn't end there. We don't just have them in and direct them to the various different places. We actually open a file on the people so that we can actually see their progress all the way through, from when the doctor has referred us right the way through to hopefully a solution for them as well. And we send the report back to the doctors every 3 months so that they can see how people have actually progressed, whether there's been an improvement on them. Maybe their people are not quite so depressed now. Because one of the biggest problems is housing. When people have got a housing problem and they can't resolve it easily, we can come in, resolve that, and it makes the people less depressed. It lifts the people. These are the important things, and this is how we address social prescribing, but we do it direct with the Dunstable, Chiltern Hills PCN, Primary Care Network, in Dunstable and surrounding villages. We also provide different channels, such as in person. We do face-to-face, which unfortunately the councils, not Dunstable Council, but Central Beds Council don't do anymore in this area. They used to go to just up the High Street North. It's closed now. But people can't fill forms in. You know, if you look at a PIP form, I think it's 62 pages or something like that. It's horrendous. And unless you're exceptionally bright and filled them in many, many times, you can't do that. So you need a bit of assistance. That's where Citizens Advice helps the people. We don't so much hold their hand, but we actually help them fill the forms in. If they need housing, if they need care, a bit of well-being, various clubs, we will actually introduce them to that. The big problem is we are a charity as well. We have a small amount of paid staff, but the majority, about 35 different people working for us, but they are all unpaid. And it's very important, really, that we get our main funding from Central Bedfordshire. Dunstable Town Council also funds us, and one of the parts they've asked for was that 1 day a week we stay open late, so that people who work can come with their problems to Citizens Advice. And that's been going now for a couple of years, and it's been very successful, and we hope it's going to continue for more years. So Dunstable Town Council and Houghton Regis have provided services for us that we can add the extra one to benefit the people. During the past year, with the cost of living, it's caused major problems. And people are then having to go for benefits where maybe they didn't go to benefits before. Universal credit to help them actually work and claim some benefit as well. This is where we come in. We help them claim those benefits. The other thing as well, small thing, us getting older, if you need a blue badge and you're eligible for it, we can actually help you apply for it as well. You know, small little things. Some of the main thing. What we've actually looked at, benefits. We've done 1,657 benefit claims in the last year. Universal credit, 604. Charitable support and food bank, 1,000. I can't even read my own writing. 1,012. Housing, 1,118 applicants. Basically, we've now become, since COVID, and Central Beds have actually, I wouldn't say withdrawn, but something very similar to that, we've actually become the front line. The amount of inquiries that we get just in Dunstable and District has gone up, has doubled. In central Bedfordshire, there is 2 other citizens advisors, one in Leighton Buzzard and District and one in Mid Beds. And we're all working exceptionally hard to support Central Bedfordshire Council. And this is basically what we do. We help the people. We have good advisors. Somebody has to, one of our advisors has to spend 6 months training before they can become an official citizens advisor. And we're all over the country as well. That's it. Kept it neat.
Does anybody have any questions for John on the citizens' advice?
Oh, no.
Thank you, John, for that presentation. Just a quick question, really, on how the citizen advice is actually funded. Do you get your funding from CBC? Do you get your funding from, where do you get your funding from? And how does that?
We get our main funding because we run very lean. As a matter of fact, for Central Bedfordshire to use us, we've become their front end now. They actually are our main provider. They also fund Leighton Buzzard and Mid Beds as well. We get a small amount because from Dunstable Town Council and also Houghton Regis. And basically that's it. We get the food bank, we get a small amount from the food bank to provide that administrative service for them. But that's really it. We do a lot for a small amount of money. And we're looking for this lady over here in the red. Peter will be talking to you later to see if there's any way we can actually increase it. In the back?
Michelle.
Hi there. My name's Councillor Richard Atwell, one of the Dunstable Town Councillors. And I'm one of the I'm the actual representative for Dunstable Town Council for Citizens Advice Bureau. And I'd just like to say, you know, the work you do is absolutely fantastic, and having been and spent a day down with you, seeing all the social prescribing, what actually goes on, the amount of effort and help down there is absolutely remarkable. And as you say, most of the people down there are volunteers, so it really is fantastic they give up their time and effort every single day to do this for people, and I think it's fabulous. And I'd encourage everyone in the room, if they know somebody or anyone that really needs this help, and I know that a lot of people have said that, you know, some people are very proud and they can't actually feel that they want to go and do that, but it really is so important in this day and age that we do. And so please reach out to the CA. They're absolutely wonderful people. As I say, the people they've got down there are extremely experienced. They've got an awful lot of years of experience together, and you know, they've got their expertise in the right areas. So they are wonderful. So please give them a try if you really do need to. And I just think it's wonderful, really, that we've got the different community groups in place tonight, and you all seem to be collaborating together as well. So that can only be good for Dunstable. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you. I think we had a question from Michelle.
There's a lady in the back there.
Thank you. Michelle Henderson, I'm one of the Dunstable Town Councillors. I was just listening to the range of things that you help people with. Amazing thing to be doing on a voluntary basis. For those that are listening in to the recording of this, is there anything you can say about the kind of people you're looking to volunteer with the Citizens Advice Bureau, and what kind of commitment they might need in order to be helpful to you?
Yes, certainly. One of the areas that we get young people in, one's that have been going to university for practicing law. They need to spend some time in a company or a charity or an organisation learning how to do their things. And we get quite a few ex-trainee lawyers coming in, giving us 3 months or 6 months. That's very good. A lot of people doing degrees in social services, nursing, and various other ones like that, they provide if they join and volunteer to Citizens Advice, it will give them a great, better understanding of actually what they're going to do when they start doing social services, etc. Just one thing.
Go on.
The other source that we get is the older generation, like me and Peter, who are retired or semi-retired. They're professional people. They have a lot of experience, and they're the people that make very, very good citizens advisors. The reason I'm looking at one there, he's looking interested, and the reason being is when you've been in business or you've worked in various companies and that sort of thing, and you're slowing down, you don't want to stop completely and just kind of play golf all the time or garden. One of the good thing is, come and join us. Use your experience and your knowledge for Citizens Advice, where you can help other people. It's very satisfying and very, very enjoyable.
Thank you. Did you have your hand up, Stuart?
Yeah, I'm one of the trustees at Dunstable Food Bank, and I know that it's not been a small amount of money that has been given by the Trussell Trust to supply somebody from Citizens Advice. It's been quite a lot of money, more than I earn, that's for sure. And it seems a shame that this thing is going to go belly up, shall we say, because the food bank the food bank provides a sticking plaster. The sticking plaster is feeding somebody's belly for a few days. But 99 times out of 100, that is not the problem. The problem is something greater. And I can't get my head around why Dunstable Food Bank has to raise, be it through Trussell Trust or whatever we're looking at now, thousands of pounds to pay for somebody to come and sit in. They actually come and sit in the food bank distribution centres when people are coming in. And that person can then get the food and go and sit and speak to somebody from the CA because they're in the room. Because I can bet you that if you say to that person, here's the contact details, go and contact Citizens Advice, I bet you out of 10 people we say that to, probably 5 or more will not do it. And those people will just drop out. And I just think it's disgusting that we have to raise money to provide an excellent support because we're signposting people to you, etc. It's almost like we're supplying something that we shouldn't need to supply. But we've found out this works. This definitely works. So I say to all the councillors and CBC people, etc., you are going to miss something. If we have to stop this, a lot of the people that we are supporting at this moment in time will drop through the net and they will not get seen by these people.
I agree with you.
Thank you. I think we probably will wrap up there. Sorry, I've got to stand up. My back is aching.
That's okay.
John, thank you so much for coming. I've been to the Citizens Advice Bureau. I've been to the Citizens Advice Bureau several times since I was made a councillor. And I've sat in on some of the sessions, and the guys that work there or volunteer there do a brilliant job. When somebody when they call the person that they've made a referral from, they're not just asking about the problem, they're asking lots of questions about the social circumstances of that person to identify where else they can support them, whether it be, are you working and can we help you with benefits? So it's a really good service. I highly recommend anybody to work there. I've used it myself. I came and did a talk last year about using it myself many years ago over a housing issue, and it really helped me to get informed and armed about some facts that helped me to navigate that situation in my own favour. So thank you. It's a brilliant service. Thank you so much. Okay, so next we are moving on to the community voluntary service. We got Martin who's coming to talk to you about The local service here in Dunstable, or the service as a whole?
We're a county-wide service, but I'll talk a little bit about Dunstable as well.
Perfect.
I'm really mindful of time, so I'm going to set myself a little timer. I'm going to be very tight with myself here, and I now fail miserably in doing so. Maybe by not even starting the watch the last time I did this. So I've been at CVS. We use the initial CVS, Community Voluntary Service, because it's frankly a very long title. And for a long time, I've really struggled to explain what we do. I try this every party I go to. I'm not normally invited back. But we try this in the elevator. It's hopefully a very long way up. The best way I can describe us is in two ways. One is the government decided to try and explain what CVS does by calling us support and development organisations, but they always like to put the acronym down for that, so they described us as SADOs, which hasn't worked very well. The other way they've described us is third sector support or infrastructure. None of these really sit, and so you can see the composition of the kitchen just goes downhill at any party for me. The best thing I can say is we're some form of combination between a small business advice centre and a trade union, but very much for the voluntary and community sector organisations. That's the best way I can describe us. So everything you'd expect to see from a small business advice centre is typically what we would do, but we'll only do that for third sector, voluntary community organisations, however you want to define yourselves. And the trade union element is actually because we go a little bit further. We actually quite often support organisations to make representation, to advocate, to speak up on their behalf at various levels, local, regional, sometimes national. And I use a lot of terms about third sector and community groups, but I think the best thing to do is have a conversation. So this is where we go down very much in the conversation here. This is a bit like a game show. I'm definitely still, I'm afraid, despite the youthful looks, old enough to remember, play your cards right. So we're going to do a higher or lower exercise, okay? So I want to get a sense. So I'm going to start with Bedfordshire first, and then we'll talk Dunstable. So I want you to give me an idea, higher or lower, as to how many voluntary and community and social enterprise organisations, there's a lot of titles there, how many VCSE voluntary organisations, not-for-profit organisations, are there in Bedfordshire? So I'll start you off as Bruce used to go. So I'm going to say 1,000 voluntary organisations in Bedfordshire. Higher. Okay. 2,000.
Higher.
Okay. 3,000. Lower. 2,500. Okay, I'll put you out of misery. At the last count, and the count is an incredibly complicated thing, which is mainly involving finger in the air a little bit, we did 2,895 voluntary and community sector organisations, which gives you some idea of the scale of things. Now, a couple of things that you need to be aware of with that is actually only about half of those are actually registered charities. Actually, about half of those are community interest companies. You have the mutual aid organisations, and a lot of the organisations we actually operate with are not registered at all. They're too small to register, they have no staff, they have less than £5,000 turnover, and for a whole host of reasons they're really, really dinky, to be entirely honest, which makes life very difficult because they're not registered anywhere. There's no list of these organisations apart from what we've gathered over time. So it's really, really tricky to get a full sense of the true picture. Let's go Dunstable. Let's go local. Okay, so it's easier to work out the number of charities, and then we can work upwards from there. So the number of charities you think are primarily in or around the Dunstable area. Now, the complicated is here. Some charities are national. So you could really get complicated with this, but these are the ones who primarily got something about Dunstable in their name or very close. So let's go 50. Ooh, okay. Let's go 500. Okay, getting a sense here. Good. Okay, how about 200? Ooh, a mixed split in the room. Okay, so at the last count, it was about 180. Now, I think this is where you get difficult, because frankly, if you've got the name Dunstable in your address and you might be based in Somerset, you come up on some of the lists. So you have to be a bit judicial about this. But based on the national picture and the county-wide picture, if you've got about 160, 170, 180 charities, you're looking probably at a population of about 300, 350 voluntary and community and voluntary sector organisations operating in the area. And that's everything from the large service providers, some colleagues are here today, to the very, very small coffee morning clubs, preschools, playgroups, older people day club centres, the whole way through cradle to grave. So it just gives you an idea of what the ecosystem looks like in terms of the wider voluntary community sector. So that's good. It's also complicated. Our remit is very simple. We just try and act as that small business advice centre for those organisations, whether they're the dinky ones, whether they're the large ones. And that can vary from day to day, from minute to minute. Just examples of the types of things we do in terms of the supporting functions. It's very much around funding advice. It's very much around the governance. We spend a lot of time talking to organisations about setting up. We spend a lot of time talking to organisations, talking them down from trying to set up. We try and encourage them to work together and work in partnership with organisations. So we do a lot of that governance work, a lot of training, a lot of help for trustees to understand their roles and responsibilities. We also talk about volunteering, and we do that on two sides. One, we act as a broker, so we try and encourage people to talk to us about volunteering, and we try and place them in organisations. We have just over 100 opportunities within about a 5-mile radius of here on our lists. So we're very much keen to see organisations get the opportunities on our lists, but we're also happy to speak to organisations to get you skilled up and trained, and so the volunteer management can't be underestimated. Most of our volunteer managers are volunteers in your own right, and I think we're very mindful that you need support to support your volunteers. And then the third element, which is a bit more kind of esoteric for us, is about the connecting role, and that's about just trying to make sure that all of those organisations, as many as possible, are aware of each other in their locality and what they do, and their collective intelligence and knowledge is then fed up and fed back down the various systems, talking to local authorities, talking to councils, talking to elected officials, talking to government, and vice versa, trying to make sure that those conversations that happen. So when organisations are telling us about their issues that they're faced with, for example, not enough trustees, quite frankly, is an issue we hear time and time again. Those messages are being pushed up the line. And things like in-work benefit and things like housing crisis, those are issues that the sector is absolutely critical, because it's got its fingers on the pulse of what's happening in our local communities. And so it's really vital that we kind of try and pick up on that and make sure that's fed through to decision makers. And with mixed results, but we make sure that the sector's views are and general kind of opinion of what's going on is fed up on behalf of some of the most disadvantaged people in society. That's probably about as much as I dare cover. I haven't even looked at the timer. I'm probably well over. But that just gives you a sense of who we are. We're just trying to connect the sector up. We're very happy to have a conversation. We're going to hang around for a bit. So I'm going to apologise for Mark, who actually is not here with his CBC hat on. I volunteered him to come along and help me out. And you may never forgive me. So Mark's very much here to talk to you about any kind of volunteering brokerage, making sure your opportunities on the system. If you're interested in a change of volunteering, talk to Mark. If you want to talk about organisational issues and governance and fundraising, then I'm very happy to have a conversation with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin, so much. Does anybody have any questions for Martin about CVS? You're going to let him off lightly. I'm sure you can get in touch with Martin if you like to ask him anything later on. Thank you so much for coming. Right, okay. I'm going to move on to the next item, which is to open up the meeting for questions, general questions relating to Dunstable. I will be, if you are to ask a question, I will be asking for your name and where you are based in Dunstable, just to ensure that you are actually an elector of the parish, and to get back to you if we need to. So just before we open up, I've got a question that was submitted.
Leave that one to the end.
What, this first little one? I won't do that. I'm going to open up the room. If you'd like to ask a question, please raise your hand and we'll get a microphone to you. And it can be to council officers, it can be to anybody here. No? Oh. Yes.
Sarah Woodruff, Priory Road, LU54HR. And yeah, I'm very much involved with Dunstable in Bloom, but I'm not wearing that hat at the moment. And I'm more concerned about parking and cars that stop and on double yellow lines, and or ones that park halfway on the pavements and part on the road and make it very difficult for pedestrians and people with prams or pushers and things, to mobility scooters or something, to get past. I know it's a difficult one because you can't employ loads of parking officials and all sorts, but I'm wondering what you're able to do about it.
I might be happy to start the answer to that question, because it's something that we've definitely raised through the Dunstable Joint Committee. It's something that parking enforcement is something that Central Bedfordshire Council is really responsible for. And I was really happy to see, I think it was last year, that as a result of those conversations, the Safer Central team was starting to issue tickets to cars that were parked poorly, or to even take a note of the registration and send letters. It's my understanding that those reports should go to Central Bedfordshire Council. If you can take a photo and email it into Central Bedfordshire Council, that would be my recommendation. Or if it's really dangerous and illegal, to obviously contact the police in the if somebody's obstructing an entrance to, I don't know, a school or a fire station, or even they're parking in the central reservation of the road, as they do sometimes on Luton Road. The police are very keen for us to report those instances, because they will follow up when they can, or at least build a picture of a pattern of occurrences. I don't know if anybody else wants to add to that. But yeah, and if, you know, we'll continue to talk to the police and Central Bedfordshire Council at those meetings and continue to raise those issues, because you're quite right, it is an issue. And I thank you for your question. Anybody else? I do have a couple of questions that were submitted that were written, and I will come to those. Councillor Brennan, you have a question?
Hi, Matt Brennan, Westfield Road, LU6, 1DN.
Oh, thank you.
I'm a Dunstable resident. I'd like to make a comment about events, please. I keep missing this at community services. All the events are in the centre of town. I think it's really annoying. I'd like events to be in the other places in the town. We have so many parks. There's parks in Dunstable North that would be really good for an event, and you could bring it to other parks. Houghton Regis Town Council, they have events in all parks around Houghton Regis, but for some reason when it comes to Dunstable, we can't have events in any other parks other than the town centre. So can we please have events somewhere else? Please. Thanks.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, I might pass that one over to Head of Grounds or the Town Clerk.
We are, at our youth activities programme, we are spreading events around the parks more through the summer now, so there is something everywhere, so we're definitely spreading that around. There was one at Brewers Hill recently, for example. Obviously, it's a matter for councillors to decide where our events are. We have just used UK SPF money to put PowerPoints further into Grove Gardens, so we can now use Grove Gardens more effectively with less impact on the environment. So our two star gardens we use predominantly because they are very well designed, and for big events, not all our parks are suitable for big events. For smaller events, they are. In Bennett's, we're doing more and more in as well. But there is more we can do across the town. There's always more we can do, but obviously there are some technical issues around some events. We wouldn't do Party in the Park at Brewers, for example. It just wouldn't work, would it? But councillors are free to propose an increase.
Thank you. Yes, Karen.
Just to come back on that, one of the funds that we manage on behalf of Luton Rising, and because of the impact of the airport across the area, is the Near Neighbours Fund. And it's a brilliant fund. It's only up to £5,000, but given that the airport is looking to develop and expand, and more money is going to be coming into that part, I'd really actively encourage community groups in those different areas of Dunstable to look at what they can deliver, not just the town council, what they can deliver locally in their park and access that kind of money, because it's small amounts of money. There's definitely things about using public spaces, community cohesion, children and young people. So it's definitely one to have a look at and think about to see whether community groups can themselves create their own events in those local areas.
Thank you. Any other questions that were not submitted beforehand? Okay, I am going to move on to the two that were written in. The first one was, should I say her name? I don't need to say her name. She will know who she is. So this question was that this person would like to know what the latest situation is regarding Moores and Tilly's, which are former shops on High Street South. And I think, who would like to answer that question, Town Clerk?
I can give the unwelcome answer that we're not aware of any progress at the moment.
Okay, so those units are available for rent, I believe, are they? And okay, so maybe we can try and find out and maybe get back to that person directly.
Yeah, I'm not sure we have any information, but we'll certainly reply.
Okay, well, that is that one. The next question was submitted by a member that is actually here this evening, and I'm not sure if that person would like to maybe summarise the question and put it to us. Okay, well, lovely, thank you. If you would like to... Hi.
I'm Joanne Bowes. Until very recently, I ran a business in Ashton Square. And I'm very much concerned about business for in the town as a whole, and I think it's also links to community cohesion. They're the heart of the town centre, and our town centre really needs to support the community. So I've been working with the Ashton Square retailers and we Save the High Street. We've done some small initiatives. There are lots more that we could do if we could have some funding to help us do that. Save the High Street are actively working with several towns in Hertfordshire, and they've been able to get some financial support. I will admit that I've also been working with Joint Committee with Town Council and CBC. Quite slow progress, I must admit. I am getting conflicting information about what the situation is. Save the High Street have made some suggestions, but I've been told maybe those have been tried and weren't successful. And I've also been told that maybe the situation is focused, the difficulties are focused in Ashton Square and not across the town. I find this quite difficult because it's he said, she said, and I really want to look at some true data so we can truly understand what the situation is. One thing that I did learn from Save the High Street is that the truly successful groups are where the businesses can get together and lead the thing, but they're most successful when their local authorities help them. Save the High Street would be able to help us set up a traders association if that was suitable. So really, and I've been doing this voluntarily. And even though I've closed my business, I'm really happy to carry on to do this and to try and make something happen if this is something that's important to the traders in the town, because to me, I think it's vital. So my question really is, how can we work together to firstly establish true concerns and needs of the town centre in a way that is data-led rather than the informal methods we're currently using? And secondly, if we establish that there is a need and commitment to support the establishing a Traders Association, hopefully with the help of someone like Save the High Street, which can give us the expertise which we maybe don't have locally. How can we work together to build a group that will work for the town where we've got so many independents for businesses and find a way to fund such activities? You know, this has been declining. The situation has been going on for some time, and you know, now is the time. It's never not the time. We've been avoiding it for a long time.
Thank you, Joanne. I think I can speak for most of the councillors in this room when I say that we have been frustrated ourselves with the lack of information that's been forthcoming from Central Bedfordshire Council regarding the empty buildings in Ashton Square, and the strategic plan for the town that I have not yet seen. I think we definitely need a strategy. And I think that we've really tried to engage with Central Bedfordshire Council, and actually councillors and officers have engaged back with us, and we met with them in September last year. You were there. So we're trying many different ways of communicating with Central Bedfordshire Council, who actually own those buildings, to get answers and understand that they are doing their best to fill those units. And at that meeting last year in September, where we met with the assets team, they assured us that they were working proactively to try and engage with new tenants for those buildings. That's what they told us during that meeting. I've yet to see the summary of the meeting and the actions. We've requested it several times, so we can look at the next steps following that meeting. I mean, look, a lot of us have really tried, and I think we definitely feel your frustration with regards to low footfall there. And I'm going to hand over to the town clerk, who can probably say it much more eloquently than me.
The only thing I was going to add was CBC have commissioned a third survey to talk to businesses and people in the town. I'm not sure exactly where that's at, but they'll be reporting that back to the Joint Committee once they've got the outcomes from that. So that will give us data. The last two surveys haven't said that traders want an association. I think if traders formed an association, absolutely the town council, I'm sure CBC would support it. We'd go to meetings, we'd share resources and do everything we could to make it work. But that has to be something that traders initiate and want to do, because if the town council tries to set it up, it would never work. So it has to be traders coming together to do it, but we would love to see that happen.
Yeah, and I think what you said about the independent retailers wanting to do that, we talked about this a year or so ago. I think if it could be led by the independent traders, that would be really helpful. I think all of us would be happy to support it. And we have another joint committee this week, 27th, is it? This Thursday? So we can hopefully reinvigorate that conversation on Thursday and see.
It's really about how we communicate directly with the retailers to find out, the traders to find out what they want, because actually I don't think that that's happening at the moment, because I'm told one thing by one set of people, but businesses tell me different things.
So would it be the Save the High Street that lead that conversation?
It could be. It doesn't have
sounds
to be.
like it, yeah.
Yeah, but that is their expertise.
Okay.
But unfortunately, they can't provide a higher level of support than they're already given. They have helped us in Ashton Square, because that's where we won the support, but it really needs funding. I don't think it would need a lot of money, but, you know, so for the Ashton Square traders to have the leaflet that they provided themselves, each trader had to give money themselves, which is fine, and some traders had to spend a lot of time out of their businesses trying to make it happen. And it just seems that we could do it collectively as a town, promote the town better, because there is no getting away from the fact that footfall has fallen and it has a negative effect on businesses. And I truly don't think it's just in Ashton Square.
No, okay. I think it would be helpful if you could bring to the Joint Committee on Thursday how much funding would be needed to make that next step happen, and then we can hopefully take it from there. Thank you so much. Any further questions before we move on to our last much awaited speaker of the evening? Okay. Well, with that, I am going to move on to Gatherwell. Gatherwell are going to be running the Dunstable Community Lottery, which the Town Council are launching to commemorate the 40th anniversary year. And yes, you're going to tell us all about that and how groups can participate. Thank you.
Hopefully this will be an exciting finish for you guys. So yeah, I'm here today just to provide a bit of an introduction. So over previous months we've been in talks with the Town Council with regards to a community lottery. So it is just to run through a little bit of an introduction and what to expect when it's coming.
I don't have a presentation for you, I'm afraid.
Oh, I do. Now this is connected to my phone, so I'm hoping everything should. Trust the technical issue on the very last one. It's going to be magnificent when it does.
That's showing off.
Oh, wow. Hey.
Yay! Okay, so the Dunstable Community Lottery. So this is an initiative between Gatherwell. My name is Carol Devine, and I've been with Gatherwell for 2.5 years now. So Gatherwell, we have been around for the last 12 years. We have 149, actually 150. Swale just launched with us last week. Community lotteries throughout the UK. So we partner with CVS organisations and councils in order to bring this facility to the good causes. And there's plenty here. So everybody I've heard tonight would more or less be eligible to join and to start raising funds immediately. So basically, we're in the process now. We have the website, which is actually being built. It is due to be ready at the beginning of May, so it will be Dunstable Community Lottery. And your lottery is just going to be a regular draw on a Saturday night, much like you do with your national lottery. So the more numbers that you manage to match, the bigger the prize. Tickets are £1 a week. You can choose your 6 numbers, or you can choose to have a lucky dip. The difference with community lottery is when a player comes on and wants to actually purchase a ticket, they pick their numbers, but they also choose their cause. So if they did want to come along and support the food bank, they would say, I would like my money to go directly to the food bank. If it's an animal charity, they can choose from one of theirs. Once that player has chosen their cause, they then sign up, hopefully to regularly play. Most of our supporters sign up. It's about 92% set up a direct debit. So you can see you're going to get some longevity of support with those people. A lot of the time, people that engage with your services, and they might not be able to make big donations, but £1 a week is manageable. They access the service so they can see the good it's doing. So about 8% don't choose to pay by direct debit because not everybody likes to put bank details in. On those occasions, they can actually give us a call, and our customer service team will take them through the process of purchasing a block of tickets for a month, 3 months, 6 months. Winners are notified on Saturday evening into Sunday morning, so they will get an email saying, congratulations, you've made a match, you've won a prize. We do at this point just have a little tug on the heartstrings and we say, thank you for supporting your cause, you've won a fabulous prize, come back and claim it, or would you like to donate it back to your good cause? And at the moment, 20% of our winners regularly donate their prizes back. So it goes to show that members of the public really do play this lottery because they want to give back to the causes that they support. Now, every pound ticket that is sold, 60 pence, is going to go directly back to good causes within the local area. So 50 pence will go to the good cause that sells the ticket to their supporter. 10 pence goes back to the council, which is then held in a central fund to be allocated back into the community. There is 18 pence that goes back to a prize pot. So I'll run through the prizes in a second. A little over 18 pence for your running costs. So this is your banking transactions, the running of the site, all the player support that goes with it. And there is an element of VAT which is reclaimable, a little over 3.5 pence. And every week we have a top prize of £25,000. So when our good causes come on to be part of the lottery, they can actually say to their supporters, if you choose to support and buy a ticket for our cause, you've got a chance to win £25,000. So a lot of our smaller good causes wouldn't have access to anywhere near that kind of prize pot for their supporters. There's a 1 in a million chance of winning that top prize, and if we have 4 or 5 winners one of the weeks, we don't actually split that prize down. So if you get 6 numbers, you win the 25,000, and we have had numerous prize winners. We don't roll over prizes, and then you can see it comes down 2,000 for matching 5, 250 down to your free tickets. Small little asterisk at the bottom is just saying, when we launched the lottery, week 1, if we had a £25,000 Dunstable winner, there's no risk to the council. The risk is fully absorbed by Gatherwell, so we manage the prize pot there as well. And this is probably most important, how it's going to work for the good causes. So when the site is up and running, we're going to launch in May. We will hold an event in May where we will invite all of your organisations to come and to hear all about the lottery, how you can sign up, and basically get to ask as many questions as you need. So once you've listened to our presentation, hopefully you will apply to join and to sign up, and it's just a 1-page application online. We then work with the council just to make sure that you are approved. So I think the basic qualification is that you are a constituted group, a CIC, a charity, but you do have to provide a service within Dunstable. Once you are approved, you will then get your very own web page within the lottery website. We will design that with you, so we ask you to pop your bio, really talk about if you've got a goal, something you're working to, if it's an event. You can actually have individual pages or causes for events. We then will provide you with a welcome pack, and we actually work directly with your good cause. So listening to everybody tonight, all the voluntary organisations and the ones I speak to across the UK, they're working full time, having families. This is something they do from love and dedication. So none of you, or you may be, marketers, but we provide all your marketing assets. So we will make sure you've got leaflets that are branded with your logos. If you don't have a logo, we will help you design one. We update all of those items about every 6 weeks. So you're always going to have Facebook banners, Twitter, if you want access to how to put together email campaigns, we can work with you for that so that you can reach your supporters. And then every month, all funds raised, so all tickets that you sell, you will receive those funds into your bank account. This is unrestricted funds as well, so it can be used to keep the lights on, which it did for many of our good causes, coming out of COVID especially. So our very first community lottery, we actually started running lotteries for PTAs and for schools. And in 2015, Aylesbury Vale Council actually came to us and they said, we can see what you're doing with the schools. Could you roll something out for the voluntary sector? As many of you are aware, even in 2015, budget cuts were looming and they don't seem to have gone away. So we actually launched our very first community lottery. We had 40 groups sign up, and they regularly started selling tickets. We're now over 300 with Buckinghamshire. Not only has it grown with causes, it's grown geographically, and it is our sort of very first and flagship lottery. So this is just to give you an example of what one of our lottery pages would look like. So once you sign up, we would actually work with you. You pop your bio in, give us much information about the work that you do. We can have little tickers so that you can have a target. Once you reach your target, there's a little celebration and confetti, and then you can reset it for your next challenge. We also have thank yous that will run down the side for when people buy tickets. It doesn't give personal information, but it will say, Mr. W has just signed to support the animal sanctuary, so you'll be able to see when people are buying tickets and supporting you. So the website, this is due to be coming online in the coming weeks, and we've designed it in partnership with the council. Gatherwell have 149 of these, like I say, so they're tried and tested. We take care of all of the PCI compliance, accessibility, so it's not something that you would need to worry about. Everything that you would pop on there is templates, so you don't need to be IT savvy. We help to work with you to get your website, your web page up and running on there. It's monitored around the clock by our developers, and it's a fully responsive website, so you can use it on your phone, on your laptop, or on your iPads. This is just to give you an idea of the marketing materials. This is a very basic one, but this will be something that you could actually share on social media. You could print and leaflet drop. It will have the individual Good Cause logo. We use a lot of QR code because our good causes don't really want to send their supporters to the main lottery page. They want them to go directly to their page so that people don't get sidetracked and support anybody else. So today we're giving you a bit of a taster to let you know this is coming. On the 19th of May, I will be back here, and we will be having our Good Cause launch event where we'll get into a bit more detail about how you can sign up, open up to questions, and be able to take you through the process of doing your application as well at that stage. We will then work with you from that day all the way through to that first 31st of May first draw. So ticket sales will open on the 19th. You don't need to panic though. There is support with our team to get you off and running. And then first draw will be at the end of May. Any questions?
What size organisation?
Somebody
like Citizens Advice.
We have many Citizens Advice. Many in Shed, we have many of those registered throughout the UK. So we get the bigger charities all the way down. I think the minimum requirement is going to be constituted groups. Where it's an organisation that might not have that, because we do have very small organisations that struggle for funding, we would direct them to the local CVS to help them, to take them through the steps of how to get what they need to do just to get that constitution and to get on. The thing with this, for the good cause, is it's free to sign up. You're not committed. If you sign up and it's not for you after 2 months, you can come off the platform. If not, it's worth just going online, working with our marketing team. Everybody comes from the charitable sector, so they're all super keen, super eager, happy to give you loads of advice, and you can just start raising funds immediately.
Thank you. Councillor Smart's got a question.
Thank you. Got two questions. I think you've already answered one of them, but just wanted to, one of the points you made, you said in terms of there is no rollover, I understand. So in a scenario where you have nobody wins in a week or in a month, what happened to those funds? That's one question. Secondly, does these charities have to pay for their marketing? You say you're going to design their logos and stuff like that. Do they have to pay to have those set up? And in terms of, just understanding how the marketing element work, helping them setting it up, and where did they go from there?
Yeah, with regard to the prizes, it's a £25,000 to match the 6 numbers. So we might not get jackpots every week. We do get, With community lotteries, they're odds-based, so we like to have lots of winners because that markets itself then, especially in localities where people will share that they've had a winner, and you guys will also know if you're lucky enough that one of your supporters has had a winner, so you'll be able to shout and share. So if we don't get the 6 matches, it may be that we don't have a jackpot each week, but then on occasion we will get numerous jackpots within a couple of weeks. We've had 2 so far. We had January, end of January, 3, one just after the New Year, so we've had 3 this year. As far as the other question was marketing, completely free. Once you sign up to the platform, we are a digital media company, so all of that is designed for you. So basically it is as easy as, once you put your bio in and a little bit of information about what you do, if you have a logo, everything is going to be ready, all ready for you to download, to print. Not everyone's tech savvy, so we run regular lunch and learn sessions. So if you're not sure how to use Facebook, you can jump online with us for 15 minutes and we'll talk you through how to share something on Facebook, how to share things on WhatsApp groups. So we regularly will touch base, but everything's designed for you. If you're pretty good at those kinds of things, some of the templates you can actually go in and you can change them yourself. So it depends on your level of sort of ability.
What's the benefit to Dunstable Town Council?
What's the benefit to Dunstable Town Council?
What do you want me? I mean, most of our councils that come to us see this as another revenue stream. Budget cuts, I'm seeing this right the way throughout the UK. There is a huge lack of unrestricted funding, especially for the kind of groups that are attracted to the lottery. Most of our good causes only are looking to raise somewhere between £600 to £1,800 a year, which isn't an awful lot as some of the bigger charities where these smaller groups might get pushed out. But they're very needed, as I've been listening to tonight. They make huge differences to the community. So from a council's point of view, we usually say it's the first point of call. So if a new organisation comes to them, they can be directed to the lottery first, say get online, try some fundraising. A lot of our good causes as well, because you will have a dashboard which tracks your financial performance, you can download at any time exactly how much money you've raised. So that will give you access. You can print that financial report and use it for matched grants, which has been quite striking for a lot of our, especially the smaller groups that run raffles and things. They might not always keep records perfectly, but with this, they press a button and they can say, yep, we've raised £1,200, and they can go for matched grants.
Oh, yes, of
So
course.
to add to that, the town council is having to pay some upfront costs to make it happen. So this is costing the town council money initially, but it's very much being done by councillors as a way of providing something to the voluntary sector in the town as an additional way of helping local groups promote and fundraise themselves.
Councillor Tamara.
Yes, just one last question.
Thank you. Just on the other side of this conversation, I think we also have to consider the people that could possibly fall victim to gambling, if you want to call it that. Yes, there's a voluntary element to this, which somewhat sort of soften the idea of, playing lottery and such things. So my question is, what's the safeguarding that are in place against people that could fall prey to, repeat, sort of getting addicted to, I might win 25,000, so I'm going to do this every week. Because I think the danger is, and I've argued it somewhat outside of this room, slightly worried about stuff like this.
Yeah.
Because there are people that think this is the way they could make ends meet. Therefore, it could be, their salary 1 week, I'm gonna try. How do we safeguard those people?
Yeah.
Because if we don't consider those people, even though this seems like a great idea,
No, it's a great question.
we have to be careful about it. So.
Yeah, I mean, we've already worked getting this proposed and through with the council. So we are an external lottery manager, so we work with the Gambling Commission. We're actually licensed by the Gambling Commission. The Gambling Commission classed community lotteries as the lowest level of risk. So to give you an idea, it's classed as the same as a school raffle. So we're in the same category of risk as a school raffle. Even so, we make sure we've got safeguards in place. When you sign up for a lottery, to buy a lottery ticket, it's solely digital. You can't go into a shop, you can't exchange cash for a ticket. You have to set up an account online. You can't buy more than 20 tickets in one process. It would trigger a call with one of our team to find out the reason why you wanted to buy numerous tickets. Along with, if there was a sudden change in somebody's play, that would be highlighted with our team. Also, draws are on a Saturday night. You can't actually buy a ticket on a Saturday. So it takes that element of sort of risk and reward away. If you are going to buy a ticket, you can't get a quick turnaround. So there is no sort of instant gratification with a community lottery. With a scratch card, you can go in the shop, you can pay £1 and you've got £10 in your pocket, which can sort of start that instant gratification. With your community lottery, you're going to more or less hear about it through a group that you support, so it doesn't really attract people that are trying to get a quick return. You then have to set up an account. You can't play on the day, so it slows that whole process down very much. Even so, we have safeguarding through our websites, and we have signposting to be gamble aware. So we do manage the majority of the element of risk across all of our lotteries.
Thank you. I think I reckon that's probably about it for this evening. I'm going to stand up again because my back's killing me. Thank you so much for just before we close, I just wanted to mention that we've got several town council officers here tonight. We've got our head of grounds, John Crawley, obviously Jack, who spoke to you earlier about community services. We've got our head of finance, responsible person for finance, Lisa Shader, obviously our town clerk, and all of these people have stayed out late tonight to obviously make this happen, and they've organised it, so thank you all so much. Not forgetting obviously Darren and Andy, who have done an amazing job with all of the technical stuff that I don't even know what it's called, so I won't go there. I wanted to this year make this meeting about the community because that was my theme for the year. But since I got elected as a councillor, I was deputy mayor to Liz Jones, and since being a mayor, I've seen so much that I didn't know existed in Dunstable. I didn't know about all of these voluntary groups, community groups, self-funded groups. I didn't know about the amazing work that goes on. And not just the voluntary groups, but how organisations like the Town Council work with them, and how you all work together to just improve cohesion and that sense of helping each other and making each other feel a bit more human, valued and helped. So I just wanted you all to see a little bit of what I've seen. Most of you have probably seen it already, but it's just magical to me. So yes, I am going to now declare the Dunstable Town Meeting 2025 closed, and thank you all for your attendance.